Great day, great day. Ooh wee, this it right here. This another one. This is jewels. I'm giving up free jewels. Would you turn away from $1 million if somebody was trying to hand it to you? Well, you shouldn't turn away from wisdom. In the Bible, it states that wisdom is more precious than any jewel or whatever, silver, gold, all of that. The whole the whole shebang, the things that's priceless according to human nature, is physically touched. But wisdom gets those things that's physically touched. Huh, yeah, breakthrough. That's what we talking about. The breakthrough. All the breakthroughs that have came about that broke through had consistent effort, failures, all the things you can think of that was negative that could make a person stop. But the person or persons who was involved as a team created what you see now, which produced to be a breakthrough with all the turbulence, the trials, the tribulations, the setbacks, the the doubt, the fear, the grind, the losing sleep, the waking up in the middle. Oh, let me jot this down, Ooh wee, the breakthrough. So what we got to do now is we got to figure, okay, do we really believe we need what we're aiming at? Do we really want what we're aiming at? Are we willing to go through to get through to the breakthrough? Are we willing to go through it to get through the breakthrough? But the glorious part of it is this: when you get to the breakthrough, when you break through, that challenge is over. So will we aim at another one? We probably won't have to, because a breakthrough is going to come in life. Period. All through life, as you go through your ups and downs, you're going uphill, downhill. Uphill is it gets hard as you get to the top. You get to the peak, it turns into a struggle. But notice, most people never fall going uphill, huh? They don't fall pretty much going uphill unless it's slippery, snow, rain, mossy grass. Some form of fashion has got to be slippery. Wrong shoes, you know. Yet, what I'm trying to say is, you when you going uphill, 9 times out of 10 you're gonna feel all the pressure, all the pain, all the suffering, all the belief that's producing doubt, fear, and a turn back mentality. But guess what? That's when you should be grateful. That's when you should be more encouraged because you're going somewhere. Any form of resistance is going to build up any area in your life. We talking spiritual, we're talking physical, we're talking mentally. Any type of resistance is going to develop muscle in that area. It's going to develop strength in that area. So you keep going. And when you get to the top, you can look down. Okay, that's a great thing. Don't let pride and arrogance get involved in there though, because now the valleys of life, the ups and downs in life, to me, that's my what I experience. Is it could be for you, it cannot be for you. I'm not saying it. In most cases, though, I realize even with people who have millions of dollars or whatever, they have the highs and the lows, the ups and downs, the trenches and the top of the hill, the mountain. So when you going downhill, this is my perspective. You have to be cautious. That's when we open up and then we get married. We get geeked up, get in a relationship. And that's just a forefront right there. That's when we start spending money we shouldn't spend, start entertaining different people we shouldn't entertain, start doing stuff out of character. You know what I mean? Start losing the one and only creator to us that made us, and we just turn the creator over for the possessions or for the lifestyle, and now you going downhill, and as you going downhill, and things that got easy as it looks, but it's really hard still because you have to consistently keep your focus. You have to consistently notice when things are out of whack. And then when you're going downhill, 9 times out of 10, you may be going a little faster if you're not cautious. Huh? So fearless but cautious is one of my concepts because I believe it should be used in any area of your life. Any area of your life. In sports, I tell my son all the time, when you get into the ball, basketball, soccer, whatever sports you're doing, you, in order to take the shot, in order to pass the ball or whatever, you have to be fearless, but you have to be cautious. You have to keep your peripheral on deck. You have to utilize that on deck peripheral because it's in you, and you have to expose it on the outskirts because a peripheral vision is not going to work in a physical form if, and you're not using your physical eyeballs, right? Yet in a spiritual aspect, you still have to keep your peripheral spiritual huh, eye open. Yeah, you gotta watch. You gotta pay attention. You gotta allow your spirit to lead you somehow. However you dig inside of yourself and figure that out. Put in a prayer, meditate, whatever. Figure that out. So when you're going down the hill, huh, you're fearless but cautious. You got your peripheral on, head on swivel, spirit on swivel, watching every movement. You know, not missing no marks. Nobody's perfect, but you're trying, you're attempting, you're doing your best to not miss the marks so you won't come tumbling down that hill. Because falling down that hill is horrible. And then when you falling down that hill, sometimes it reverts all the success that you had uh, fell in love with from climbing up the hill prior getting to the top and looking down with that haughtiness and believing that you bigger and better than someone else, and now you down lower than they are because they were still climbing and you didn't tumble, you know. So more to the story is be cautious more, so to say, when you're going downhill, when things getting easy. It's a little twister up in there because it's not that you're going downhill because you actually failing again. It's because it's getting easy, if that's making sense. The ups and downs is the facts of life where you could feel some pressure, and sometimes you don't really feel pressure, but the pressure's still there. The pressure to make sure that you don't fall down a hill is still there. Because sometimes when people fall down a hill, they lose hope, they lose faith, they lose everything that they gain from going up the hill. That's, as this one saying goes, how soon they forget. You know, that's like when a person is involved in your life. And I hate that. I hate that right there. It's a fact though. When someone's involved in your life or you have them involved in your life, they could take that for granted. They're going downhill, and then all the things that you have helped build up inside of them or around them, their perimeter where they could physically see it, they forget about all of that. And if you put pressure on them in any way to help them, they could take that, it'd be a derogatory thing, and now they're holding something against you that shouldn't be held against you. They should be accepting the facts that you're building them up. Unconditional love consists of ups and downs. You know what I mean? Everything ain't sweet, you know, and if you take too much sweetness in, I've also heard that too much of anything is not good for you. So if you give somebody too much sweetness, they gonna get a cavity in their spirit. Ooh, yeah, they're gonna take the sweetness. You gonna overdose. So you got to mix the bitter in there with it, which is educating, which is caring, which is telling them the truth. That's when you had a bitter part because you're loving them unconditionally in the form of where you're not neglecting them. You're loving them unconditionally, so you're not neglecting them. Love, tough love, showing love physically, showing love mentally, showing love spiritually, showing love when they slipping, correction, telling the person when they wronged you. All of that coincides with unconditional love, showing love to them to where it becomes a bitter situation to where it has to mix in with the sweetness. And there we have balance. So the balance of going downhill is definitely one of the most powerfulest things to have, that balance. When you going downhill, you have to have that to make sure you don't come tumbling down. You don't mess someone else's life up because you the person who take another person for granted. How soon they forget mentality going down that hill. How soon they forget mentality when you going down that hill. And then you sitting up there paying attention to the things that really don't matter. And now you done lost your way. And it's hard to gain back your way. I was also told at one point in time, it could take 1 second to get into some trouble, and it could take a lifetime to get out, and that's for real. That's 100% pure because I lived it, I've done it, I experienced it. Yeah, what I can say, as long as you consistent, as long as you aiming at trying and doing what you're supposed to do, then that breakthrough, there we go, the main focus, that breakthrough can happen again. Do not lose hope on your breakthrough. If you're starting, don't lose your breakthrough mentality, knowing, keeping faith, believing in yourself to where when you already started, you know what I mean, and you feel like you relapsed on getting to where you need to be as far as spiritually, mentally, physically, working out. You know what I mean? Exercise your spirit, sticking to certain routines to where you get rid of the demonic spirits, making them flee, or the mental to where the demonic spirits and stuff, the carnal mind, your own self is turning on yourself and trying to make you think a certain way and push you a certain direction away. You losing yourself again. Keep the faith. Breakthrough. You can break through again. Don't give up on your breakthrough. Because when you see it, you're not just going to have that little falsified, self centered happiness. You're going to have joy that has happiness inside of it. Yeah, your full shell is going to have joy. Joy is going to have happiness inside of it. And happiness, you're going to have joy. And joy going to cover this. And joy going to do this. And joy going to do that. So that happiness is just covered. It's comforted. It's locked in to where you can always, when you feel them like a sad moment coming about, or a challenging moment to where your happiness, which is not great, the joy, that holds on to the happiness, that keep the happiness inside you somewhere, you can pull out of that area by using your joy, and you can have a burst, a breakthrough of joy with the happiness mixed in it in the darkest times. You can be mourning, but you can look at the things of what that person, if a person passed, you can look at the best parts of that person's life and know that they're in a better place. You can look at the challenge and know that if you had a choice, you wouldn't want anyone else, as far as your loved ones, to go through the challenge you're going through. You're willing to take that because you was built for to take that. Take that, take that. You was built for it. So you wouldn't want to have your baby, your spouse, your grandmother, your grandfather, your mother, your father, your auntie, uncle, niece, nephews. You wouldn't want any one of those beings to go through what you're going through, because you know how hard it is to go through it. You know that they could probably have a mental breakdown, physical breakdown. So you were built to go through, to get through your breakthrough. You were built for it. So that's a thing that you should doc. You should write that down. Like the Bible said, write it on the tablet of your heart. Know that you were chose to go through what you going through for the breakthrough. I say over and out. I could go on and on, but I will not. I'm going to give you that, and I hope that you take these precious, more precious than jewels, dropping knowledge freely from someone who has gone through and still goes through to get through that breakthrough. Peace and love, blessings. Fear not. Be cautious, but fearless. Fearless, yet cautious. However you want to switch that around. Long as it makes sense to you, be your best, do your best, and the best shall come. Champtez.